I started making jewelry when I was a little girl. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my friend Sarah and I used to go and buy seed beads and make little peyote stitch triangular earrings with the fringe. I think we made several pairs of those, and then we also did loom worked bracelets, little friendship bracelets, so that's how it all started. When making jewelry, my favorite material is sterling silver. I think it's always been sterling silver. The beauty of the bright silver and the gray always inspires me to create something with it. This is my book, New Directions in Punch Metal Jewelry. I'm super excited that it's finally out. It's been a long year of writing and creating for the book. The idea came actually a year ago, maybe more than a year ago. I was getting my hair cut, and the big mirror that was in front of me had a traditional Mexican punch tin frame. It was huge. And you know how long it takes to get your hair cut. You know, I was there for a while, and I'm looking at this frame, and I'm going, I want to make something similar to that. I don't want to do chasing repoussé, but I want to do something in kind of a repetitive pattern. And at that time I was living up in the mountains, and so I was driving back up the mountain, and while I'm driving going, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? When I get home, I just wanna like dart to my jeweler's bench and figure this out. So I got home and I found some graph paper, and I adhered it to a piece of sheet metal and pulled out my steel stamps and just started stamping, starting in the center of a quadrant, and then started growing out from there. And the fun part about the process was I didn't really know what was going to be left because the paper was over the sheet metal. And so I kind of worked away for a while, and then went, okay, I think this is cool, and took it to the sink and rinsed off the paper and went, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This looks so cool. I don't have a rolling mill, so I don't have a way to create a repetitive pattern on sheet metal. And I use a lot of sheet metal in my designs. And so I just kind of went nuts, and the next morning brought it to work here at Beaducation and showed my coworkers, and everybody freaked out. And I kind of said, don't freak out if you don't really mean it. And they all said, no, this is really cool. We've never seen anything like this before. You should really put together a book proposal. And with everyone's encouragement here at Beaducation, I put together a book proposal and proposed to my favorite publishing company, Revere Press. I have bought their knitting, crocheting, jewelry books since I was a little kid. So it was a dream for me, really, to become part of that group. So I put together my proposal and was lucky enough to have it accepted, and spent 10 months writing this book, creating the projects. And yeah, I'm super proud of it and really happy with how it turned out. I find inspiration probably most often in the material. Lots of times I start with the material. I start with a found object, a treasure from a bead show, or even just ordering some new 16 gauge wire will inspire me to design something specifically with the material. When it's crunch time and I have a really serious deadline and I'm just not feeling it, not feeling creative, that's when I pull out my sketchbooks. When I'm feeling really creative, I make sure to write it all down and draw pictures, because you always know that hump of no creativity is gonna come back someday. So make sure to write it all down and then just go back and check it out. I started teaching really basic beading classes at a bead store back in Minnesota when I was a teenager. I actually started volunteering there because I wasn't old enough to actually work. So they just kind of let me hang out, and then they hired me when I was 15 years old. And then I started teaching just basic earring classes and stringing classes. What is my favorite part about teaching, and what's my teaching philosophy? I would say my favorite part is when people have the aha moment, when they get so excited, they just learned that thing, and you helped usher them to that place. That's probably my favorite thing. My philosophy is that I'm a huge believer in that we need to continue passing on traditional crafts and traditional handcrafts. And so I'm driven by that a lot. So driven to show the old way things were done and the new way, kind of maybe even the faster way now. Where do I see my art taking me in the next 5 years? That's a big question. I feel like I'm at this point in my life where it could kind of go anywhere. I just started playing with leather, which has been really fun. I've been building bags and accessories, and I just made my first pair of moccasins. So who knows where it will go? I'm kind of hoping to find a way to meld my metal work and the leather work together, like maybe make my own hardware. I also would like to write another book sometime, so I'm hoping that that's where the next 5 years takes me.